Good morning, everyone. My name is Ajit Gopalakrishnan, Chief Performance Officer from the Department of Education. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this first of four informational sessions with our higher education partners in this work to expand dual credit offerings in your schools and districts. As you know, we have recently released this grant opportunity to expand dual credits. Dual credit opportunities for our state, whether they be academic-oriented pathways or career-oriented pathways. We are also making the outreach to our IHE colleagues who have been fantastic partners, and we're thrilled to be working with them to expand these offerings in your schools and districts. And we figured that this type of a meet and greet information session would be a good place to kick it off in terms of what they're offering. Perhaps you know what they're doing already, but perhaps you don't. And perhaps they're contemplating new things that we didn't know were in the works. So the idea of these information sessions is to really build that partnership. From a timeline perspective, the grant is due July 17th. So there's still plenty of time to have those conversations with your IHE partners of interest and submit those grants to us. We're hoping everyone who is eligible applies for this grant because we really are committed to this work. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Renee Savoy, who's going to take it from here and get us going.
Thanks, Ajit. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. I know we have about 23 people on the line and probably over 60 who have registered at this point. So I know there's a lot of interest, but it's certainly a busy time. And many people have already asked me in advance whether or not they can get access to the recording, which I will do as soon as it's ready after the session. And I'll send it around to everyone who registered. And I'll also send whatever slides we have as well. So first, I really want to focus on our higher education partners. So I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves, and then I'm going to do some additional opening remarks, reminders, and then we will get right to it. Oh, let's see, I went too far. There we go. So if we could start with Chris from Eastern, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Drury. My title at Eastern is Director of Co-Curricular Academic Programming, which is encompassing global learning on the campus and study abroad, but also early college experiences, including our new pre-college summer programs and dual enrollment partnerships. So I took on this role last year. This is my first academic year working through it. I'm really enjoying it, learning a lot, and looking forward to some potential new partnerships after today. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Trudy Milburn. I'm Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs. I'm here in the Provost's office where we oversee early college work, specifically with instructors and our school partners. And then we have a partnership with our admissions office who works directly with the students to get them enrolled. So I'll describe that again a little bit later. Thanks for being with us.
My name is Molly Miner. I'm the Director of Admissions and Enrollment Management for the University of St. Joseph. USJ has a works jointly between admissions and academic affairs on our concurrent enrollment programs. So students will work primarily with the Office of Admissions on the application process and enrollment in the programs. And then we work really closely with our colleagues in academic affairs and the registrar's office to get everyone registered and throughout the course lengths. So I look forward to sharing a little bit about what we're doing here at USJ.
Thank you. So I'm looking forward to learning a lot too, because this is kind of new for me as well. We've had a packed timeline over the last month or so. So for those of you on the call, I've been communicating a lot of these items to you if you're a post-secondary readiness lead for your district or your school, or perhaps you're a high school principal. So I'm the person who's just like constantly emailing information. So now you can know me. We started with an initial announcement on April 6th, where the governor and the commissioner announced this investment that Connecticut will be making in growing dual credit offerings. May 1st, our grant launched. I'm going to you're going to hear this so many times in the coming weeks, and that is my biggest tip for the grant is to prepare your responses to the question outside of the application itself. Because when you sit down, or when the person you delegate to enter the application sits down, all responses have to be entered in one sitting. So definitely prepare your responses outside of the application and then sit down, copy and paste into the application and submit. We had an information session for districts where I shared that tip on May 8th, but I wanted to make sure I gave you a reminder. On May 15th, we had a great opportunity to meet with Connecticut Early College Coordinator Roundtable representatives. So these are representatives from higher ed throughout the state who focus on these early college programs and dual credit. It was a great discussion, and people, I can tell you, you'll hear this many times, I think our higher education partners are very excited to do more in this area. We just launched a new dual credit opportunities website on May 19th. I think you should be able to click on that link in this PowerPoint, but if not, I can go ahead and put the link in the chat, or maybe Ajit can do that for me. One of the things I want to bring your attention to on that site is that the higher education partners responded to a set of questions in a survey form. We took those responses and went ahead and set up pages for each of the universities or colleges who responded to give you more information about what programs and partnerships exist. What is tuition for students in these programs? Are there tuition waivers available? And probably the most important thing we heard from the field was that people really wanted to know who they should be contacting at each of these institutions. It was unclear who the person was that they should be reaching out to if a district was interested in learning more about potential dual credit partnerships with these organizations. So that information is on that website. I encourage you to take a look at that. We've got these 4 information sessions. This is our very first one. We're excited about it. I will show you the upcoming 3 at the end of our session today, and feel free to register for all of them if that's going to work for you. Grant applications, again, as Ajit said, they are due on July 17th by 5 p.m. and then we will issue all decisions before the school year starts, so on August 21st. So we've been doing a lot, we've got a lot coming up, and we're excited to see where this goes. Before we get into the meat of the conversation, just a reminder about some of the terminology we've been using. We're trying to use dual credit as an overall umbrella term, and within that dual credit umbrella, we have concurrent enrollment, which is typically classes that are taught on the high school campus by high school faculty. Dual enrollment courses are dual credit courses that are typically taken on a college campus. We're talking about all variations on this, and the grant application can apply to concurrent and or dual. So whatever is going to work for your particular district, that's going to be okay with the grant opportunity. You've seen this before, this explanation of the grant. If you're on this call, you know about it, but there's just a couple of little reminders I want to make sure I mention, and that is this grant program is about startup costs. So this grant cannot fund operational costs. We can't pay for student tuition or student fees or student transportation to the university campus. But there are many things this can fund. So the working with college faculty to articulate a high school course, maybe it's a brand new course, or maybe it's a tweak on a current course, so that the course is going to meet the college expectations and students will earn college credit when they have successfully completed this course. The grant application requires a partnership with one or more of Connecticut's institutions of higher education. That is a key component of the application, which is why we have our friends here today to talk more about what they can offer to help you. And then the overall goal is we want to make sure that these college courses that students are taking during high school are non-remedial courses, that they're like 100 level or above, because we want the main goal is for students to be leaving high school with college credits already on a transcript. So that's very important to us, and that is a goal of the program. With that, Ajit, were there any questions that came in the chat before we got started? Or are we good
I'm
to
taking
go?
care of those. I think we're good. Keep going.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to allow Chris from Eastern to go ahead and share what they're doing at his institution.
Right. Thank you so much, Renee. I'm going to work on sharing my PowerPoint here. And just want to make sure it all looks good, and hopefully everyone can see this.
Looks great.
All right, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about Eastern and what we're doing here. And thank you for all the work you've done in coordinating the grant, which is a really exciting opportunity. So again, my name is Chris Drury. Title is Director of Co-Curricular Academic Programming at Eastern. I've been at Eastern for about 12 years, half of which was spent in academic advising, half of which was spent as Assistant and Associate Dean of our School of Education and Professional Studies. So I have a lot of background in working with incoming student transfer articulation credits, but also working with faculty who we collaborate a lot with, and as well as the registrar's office here. But this is my first year overseeing dual credit. I'm definitely the appropriate contact if anything should come up in terms of questions or interest in partnering. All right, so I wanted to share a list of who our current partners are. I believe we have a few on the call today, actually. These partnerships arose pretty naturally. We place our teacher candidates in some of these high schools. They're all generally in the region here east of the Connecticut River. So this is our list of current partners, but we don't really have a policy in place right now about like physical distance. We do try to get partners where we try to have our faculty visit each school physically each year too. So that is something we can discuss and work with in the future, but I did want to share a current list of partners and let everyone know that we are open to exploring new partnerships as well. These are the current courses offered for credit through these partner institutions. And I want to clarify that mainly I'll be talking about concurrent enrollment. So these courses are all offered in our partner high schools and instructed by the teachers at those high schools after they've applied and been vetted by our academic departments. So you can see we have a lot of courses in the sciences, in the STEM fields in terms of math, bio, physics courses that run the full year. Also languages and the arts. Public speaking is a pretty common offering across our high schools. Some of our partners offer as few as 1 or 2 courses. Others have upwards of 10 approved to run during the year. And this list is not exhaustive. What I can do with anyone who's interested is share a link to Eastern's course schedule and list of course descriptions online for browsing for teachers or guidance counselors to kind of take a look at what's approved in the Eastern catalog. We do generally only approve 100 and 200 level courses. We don't go up to 300 and 400 levels, but pretty much, you know, we'd be open to a discussion on anything in the 100 to 200 level area. What I would do is reach out to the department chair of the appropriate department that offers the course and talk about whether they'd be open to it. Like the English department, for example, hasn't been very interested up to this point in offering a college composition course, a freshman writing course, but we have offered intro to lit and creative writing and may expand on that. I also have some interest in expanding to professional studies. So we had a proposal in the works for a business principles of management course, and our business administration department is open to that, has provided sample syllabi from our courses that have run in management, and then the school who's interested is going to work on putting together an application syllabus to go to the department. And I'm going to share a little bit about what that application process looks like in a minute. But I thought it'd be helpful to share kind of what's already on the books and has been approved and also that we have a lot of other areas that can be, open to future applications, including the social sciences and professional studies. This is what our application process looks like. It begins with a meeting between me as coordinator for early college experiences and an administrator or administrators from your school or district to talk about a new partnership if one doesn't exist already. And we would talk about how everything works and the viability of partnering in the future. Once that's done, or if you're already an approved partner, a teacher submits a proposal for a course. So it's not a case where each school or district gets blanket approval on a course, like one of the courses I just included in the previous slide. It would be unique to each instructor paired with a course. So you might have multiple teachers applying, say, to teach public speaking from your school, but each would need to apply separately because the application process is partially based on teacher credentials in their own application. Likewise, one teacher may be submitting more than one application, say for public speaking as well as creative writing, and those are reviewed individually. So the teacher submits an online form and provides supplemental items, including a CV, transcripts, a cover letter, and recommendation letters, preferably from a department head and an administrator, like an assistant principal or principal. The expectation is that each instructor has a master's degree in the content area, but given that a master's degree might be in the field of education, our department might be willing to look at someone with a master's in education if the undergrad degree is in the appropriate content area, such as English or history. So the deadlines are early. In some cases, if the deadline is missed or there's interest, we might be able to work with you in an academic department to still get a review in. But the reason these deadlines are pretty early, March 15th for the fall semester and September 15th for the spring, is that the academic department needs time to do a review of the materials and then vote on the proposal in a departmental meeting, which are usually happening once a month, maybe once every couple of weeks. And then we want to allow time for, in case there's any need to go back and adjust or revise any of the application materials, that there still be time to do that as well. So these are the deadline dates where a new teacher would submit an online application and email our account their supplemental items for review by an academic department. And then our faculty, say in the English department, would review as a group and take a vote on whether that new application is approved. If approved, the course goes on to our registration form for the next semester. So we share an online registration form where we'll send it out to the appropriate school liaison. Usually that's a guidance counselor coordinating things, a single point of contact, and then they'll distribute it out to teachers who are teaching these classes or the students who plan to enroll. And then the students actually, in collaboration with their parents or teacher or guidance counselor, some districts do this differently, but the expectation is that they submit the online form with some basic contact info in order for our registrar to create an Eastern account for each individual student and then register them in the actual Eastern course so that grade entry happens later on and a student gets a transcript. So at the end of the course, I'll distribute rosters based on the enrollment at Eastern, and then the instructors will put in the grade according to Eastern's grading scale, which is an A through F system. And then the registrar will input those final grades, and they exist on a transcript for the students that they can access unofficially online, and that they could request official transcripts to be sent to other institutions. And all of our credits that you saw on that list are 100 level or above, and we are accredited by NECHI, the regional accreditation agency. So those credits in most cases should be transferable to other institutions. It would just depend on that institution's admissions registrar office on how those do articulate, whether they're specific courses or elective transfer credits. This is just a snapshot of what our registration form looks like when students receive this. So this is right now, if a student were selecting attendance at Quinebaug Valley Middle College, the only course that's approved for them is Intro to Lit, and that's the only course option that will be available to them. So we would add your district or school in, should a new approval be done. And then as each individual course and instructor is approved, we go in and add that in. So there's logic in here that they would only have the option to select from your school's approved courses, and we would add to that as we go along and get new approvals and departmental approvals. Okay, I know everyone is likely very interested in this. The financial information, the cost is $25 per credit per student. Most classes are 3 credits, some go up to 4. Some would be even 8 credits for the year, let's say if they did a Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. But typically we're talking about $75 to $100 per class. And the standard cost per credit for an Eastern student is $625 per credit. So an academic course would be closer to $2,000 typically for the courses that were on the list you saw. But for concurrent enrollment students, it is $25 per credit. The way we do billing is that we work kind of around the 3-week freeze for the university. So at the 3rd week date after each semester begins, the first day of classes, we're expected to report data to the state. So that's the date we try to use to get enrollment done. We know that sometimes that could be a challenge for high schools, so we can work individually in some cases, but in general, we're working around a registration deadline of the 3rd week of the fall semester for fall or full year courses, or the 3rd week of the spring semester for spring only offerings, of which we have, I think, about 8 this semester in spring 23. So after that 3-week freeze, the rosters lock in and our bursar bills the high school. And we ask, this is the way we're currently doing it. We've had feedback from districts. We're looking into other ideas, but as of right now, our bursar's office would create an invoice based on the student enrollment. The high school would then collect the money and submit a payment to our bursar's office. When I took this on in September, the most common question I got from partners was about waivers, tuition waivers, and scholarships. I know that's great. Everyone advocates really strongly for their students, which I think is great. We are unable at this time, after looking into it, to issue a waiver, a blanket tuition waiver for students who do free reduced lunch and that kind of thing based on the numbers. We just need to kind of consider our costs with running the program. We pay all of our full-time faculty members their salary rate for their work and hours that they do. We reimburse for travel and all of that. So right now, the cost is $25 per credit. And then we did this year for the first time arrange for some limited scholarship funding to come out of our charitable foundation, the ECSU Foundation. So what we did was send out an application online for high school guidance counselors to nominate up to 2 students from their school to receive up to $100 scholarship for their class. And essentially the foundation here submitted a payment on behalf of those 2 students. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do that again, because I did hear guidance counselors sharing information about students who really needed a significant amount of help, and that the $75 was even going to be a really big challenge for them to pay. So we wanted to account for some of those very significant need scenarios. I'm going to talk now a little bit about how collaboration works. So like I mentioned, we have a full-time tenure track faculty member liaison from the appropriate department working with the instructor teaching the course concurrently at the high school level. So that involves an orientation and onboarding to go over what the course at Eastern looks like, what the learning outcomes are that the students will be expected to meet, and sharing sample syllabi, sample resources for how our faculty manage to coordinate the course and ensure that students are meeting the learning outcomes and covering the content. Those liaisons are available throughout the year in the course offering for questions, online meetings, visits, and they also help manage SharePoint resources, so they can put resources in place for all of our partners who might be teaching a given course or just work individually with an instructor on providing some shared resources that should hopefully help with instruction of the class. We do expect that our liaisons conduct at least one site visit to go out and meet the high school students in person and to observe the teachers in the classroom and get a sense for how everything's going. And then the last thing that happens during the academic year in terms of usually in-person meetings is an end-of-year luncheon. We had ours last Thursday. We had a really great turnout where administrators and teachers from high schools came to campus. We provided lunch, and then all of our faculty were present too for more informal discussions about how everything had gone this year, ideas for improvement into next year. And that was a really great event, and we got a lot of excitement around the grant too, and ideas for expanding course offerings. So that's a really great event that we've initiated that we just had for the second time this year. NACEP, for those who are unaware, is the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships. Right now, we are not accredited with this organization, but we use their standards as a guidepost. We share them with our faculty. We try to make decisions with all of these standards in mind. So NACEP standards cover what the partnership should look like in terms of mission alignment, what faculty credentials should look like in training. It covers assessment. And then the screenshot I have here is just a little bit of a sample of these standards. This one focuses on curriculum standards, so indicating that the courses administered through concurrent enrollment should be existing university catalog courses, all of which on the list you saw. That was the case for ours. And it outlines a little bit about what faculty should be doing in terms of observations and making sure that content is being covered. There are also standards around the student process, making sure that they're following the same process as Eastern students in terms of account creation, registration, meeting prerequisites, getting access to transcripts. So that's all the case. The students are essentially non-degree seeking Eastern students in our system and follow the same processes as Eastern students. So NACEP accreditation is something we may look into in the near future, but right now we're more using their standards as a guidepost. Because evaluations are part of those standards, we do issue and request student evaluations from the courses. I'm working with our institutional research office now to ready. We have a QR code and link ready to go out for this year's students who were enrolled in concurrent Eastern courses. So our response rate was about 50% last year, and I'll be distributing some analysis of the data to the appropriate instructors and liaisons. And then this is just a sample of what the student evaluation looks like, where the students do a Likert scale review and also have the chance to add open-ended comments on their experience. We also ask that our faculty liaisons submit a year-end report. And in most cases, that comes in the form of this online feedback, of which I've just included a couple of questions you can see. So they also do a Likert scale with open-ended feedback, and we collect this data at the end of each class session from our faculty liaisons to make sure we're getting feedback from them and that the instructors are getting feedback from them as well. And I wanted to end on something that I thought was somewhat of a fun note, and encourage future campus visits from students who are participating in the courses, so that this really feels like a partnership, that it's not just a high school course that happens to be for college credit at Eastern, but that students really get the sense of, this is a partnership, this is an Eastern class. So what we did, this is just one example of a visit that happened last year, and this was really a partnership between us and Plainfield High School. So Plainfield arranged to fund transportation for the students to get to our campus. We arranged to fund lunch and kind of scheduled a fun day for the students. Hopefully it was a fun day for them. So they came, they saw our student center, and then first thing in the morning, we arranged for a recent American history lecture on World War II to be taught by Dr. Karen with both her current students, and we arranged for space for the Plainfield students to all meet in our Student Center Theater, and they all attended that lecture. So she kind of kept just going with her standard class, but Plainfield students were invited to also participate. They were really impressive in their discussion and answering questions that Dr. Karen had, and were able to really kind of, sit in with our college students, get some advice from our college students as well on things they should be thinking about for their first year, regardless of where they end up attending if they go to college. They then attended an admissions presentation about the campus in general. They went on a tour with our undergrad admissions staff tour guides, who are great. And then arranged to have lunch meetup in the cafeteria. So everyone had lunch in Hurley Hall here, followed by a pickup to go back to Plainfield. So this was an awesome day. It took a little bit of planning, but it's definitely something we could use this as a template, I think, and try to make this work in the future. It's something we're really excited about being able to do this year. All right, and that's it for the slides I have to share. This is my email address and our website, which maybe we can put in the chat, or hopefully you can get access to. But right now our website's very kind of simple. It just has information for students and what they should do, FAQs, and information for teachers hoping to submit new applications step by step. So thank you so much for providing the time, and I hope to be able to answer questions at any point during the presentation today.
Thanks, Chris. I just want to jump back in and say thank you. That was extremely helpful. The link to your email and the website are also on that dual credit website that we shared earlier. So thank you for all of that. I just wanted to clarify two things before Trudy, we jump to Southern. One you mentioned, Chris, was that if educators in high school do not have masters in the content area, that you're willing to work with them. Is there, if they have a bachelor's in that content area, and of course, vast majority of educators end up having masters in education. That's invariably how the pathway goes. Is that, could you elaborate on that? Like what else would the high schools need to do on that front?
It would really be a case-by-case review depending on the course they're applying to teach. And then it would go to our faculty would review, and I think make a determination that the undergraduate or in combination with master's coursework in the content area is sufficient. Or I think in rarer cases might look and say, well, there are a couple of missing courses in the background. And I think that's where the grant could potentially come in and help fund tuition for those instructors who might be missing like a key course, say in astronomy or physics, if they're applying to teach that course.
Absolutely. I think you're reading my mind, Chris. It's scary that I just wanted to reiterate that the grant funds can be used to support teachers to fill those gaps, if you will, to become certified by the IHEs. I also wanted to clarify, Chris, that when you talked about the demands on the college faculty to run a program like this, I just wanted to sort of mention for everybody on the call that the grant funds can be used to support stipends, obviously for high school faculty, but also for college faculty to develop the new courses, because I know there's a demand on your side as well, Chris. So our grant is for startup costs, not operational costs. But if you're building a new course and you've got your high school faculty members, and one or two college members, you could use the grant funds as stipends for those individuals for planning, development, et cetera.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And NACEP, I was thrilled to hear about NACEP. At the state level, we're very much committed to helping all of our IHE concurrent programs get to that standard or something very close or similar or whatever, but we are going to help continue that work. So thank you very much. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Trudy and Southern.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And so our early college program at Southern is about 3 or 4 years old in terms of the concurrent enrollment, but several years older when we talk about dual credit. So we have a website that's also called Early College, and much of the information can be found on the new portal that was described at the beginning. So presently, we have approximately 70 high school partners. I just spoke with 2 additional ones this morning, and we are open to other new partnerships. At least half of them plan to have a course in their high school in the concurrent enrollment mode this coming year. And that represents approximately 120 course sections across the fall and spring semesters. So we're now quite a robust program. I started 3 years ago, really being open to partnerships, and like Eastern, they grew kind of organically, and people reached out to us based on their gaps that they found in their early college offerings and sought Southern for the expertise we bring in healthcare, in business, in education, and in the arts and sciences. So you'll see in a moment several courses that we offer. I will also talk about the benefits and teacher requirements, very similar to Chris, some professional development opportunities, and conclude with next steps for the grant. So for those who don't know Southern well, we're considered a social justice institution, and we see early college as part of that mission, providing opportunities for students who might not have otherwise seen themselves as traditional college-going students. We find that the opportunity to have a college course in the high school helps provide the students with the feeling that they can do it, and they are more likely to succeed, to both come to college and succeed once they're here. So that supports our mission. Our students in the early college program are able to enroll up to 30 credits. So it's about 1 year off of their tuition that they would pay when they came matriculated without college credits from early college. And so what they could do is consider their 4 years here for an accelerated pathway program. Some call these 4+1s. They can finish 4 years with a master's coming in with this many credits. Right now, our partners enable our students to get 2 courses in the fall or spring for $65, 1 course in the summer for $55. However, if they are on free and reduced lunch, those fees are waived. So the eligible students are determined by the high school, and we recommend those be juniors and seniors with a 3.0 or better. Some schools have particular ways that they would like to determine eligibility, and we work with each high school to make sure that those students are included on the eligible student list. So some of the courses that we are offering this coming academic year, you'll see here based on kind of groupings, and I provide a list of the 44 concurrent enrollment potential courses that we are able to offer in the high schools to each partner. So once a partnership begins and we agree to the contract itself, then I turn the partnership over to my liaison, Dr. Olcay Yavez, and he works with each instructor to determine the area that they'd like to explore for their course. So here, you'll see a variety of STEM courses, arts and sciences, like I said, education, health specific. And from the student's point of view, they like to think about how are these going to kind of add up in my degree program. So the example I have online here is from our accelerated high school nursing pathway, where you'll see the courses for early college. So chemistry 120. Oops. Go back. Math 107, elementary statistics, physics for healthcare professionals. So these are courses that they can take in the high schools, and the students who complete that 30 credits can qualify for a scholarship for the 3 years that they're at Southern on that nursing pathway. So you can use the QR code on this slide to learn more about that specific scholarship and how the cluster of courses can help prepare the students for this pathway specifically. So like Chris, we have a teacher approval process that is really based on the departments at Southern and the department chairs who review the credentials. So initially, a person must have a master's degree either in the discipline or with relevant coursework. Sometimes it's 2 courses, sometimes it's 4. With the QR code, you can link directly to our master's degree programs. Many of them are online, and I believe you can use the grant to pursue that, should that be something that you wish to do. So the instructor creates an interest form profile that's reviewed by Dr. Olca Yavez and selects from a list of the 100 and 200 level courses that they would like to teach. Once he receives that interest form, he will create a request for a sample syllabus and an introduction with the department chair to review whether, sometimes with a math course, for instance, knowing which level it is requires a discussion rather than just simply the review of a syllabus. So that conversation happens, and when it's determined that we have the right course in mind, the application process commences, and that includes a very similar set of requirements: the cover letter, the vita or resume, a letter of recommendation, the transcripts, and the proposed syllabus. And I think what's most important for our department chairs is how the material will be covered. Some, like math, have a standard midterm and final. Others are very open to what assessments or evaluations are given in the high schools. So that conversation ahead of time helps determine what the syllabus will look like. And we also have a standard syllabus template that prospective faculty can use to make sure that they cover each thing that's required. So if you're a prospective teacher in wanting to teach computer science, for example, the computer science department has a certificate that helps with these 4 classes. Prospective teachers can earn a certificate and then be ready to teach in the 24-25 cycle. So the QR code will take you to the whole flyer and the page where you can learn more about the sequence of courses and how to engage in this opportunity. Given the short notice of the grant, we haven't prepared this for every single discipline, and every single discipline doesn't have very specific courses. So if you'd like to explore those credentials, I would encourage you to have a conversation with Dr. Yavez and the department chair. So once the instructor is approved, then they will receive their appointment letter describing the course that they're approved to teach and when, and then they'll be given the dates for the students to enroll. And the privileges that they get include library privileges, where they can review our resources with their faculty ID badge and check out books or put books on reserve or use the other resources that we have. And they've created a page on our library guides for early college specifically. So similar to Chris, our due date is March 15th, and we're actually now having one due date for the entire academic year so we can plan ahead. For courses that are full length in the high school, we typically have the students enroll in the spring so that they can consider the previous 15 weeks some pre-work, and then the intense evaluations occur in the spring and when they're enrolled in the college class itself. And so some may choose not to take it for college credits, but still be enrolled in that course in their high school, and that's okay. Students can be in the college course or not, depending on their preference. And so I would encourage anyone who's interested to think about the date by which they might be eligible to apply. So next steps would be thinking about the specific courses, and I can send a list to anyone of those 44 courses where you might consider concurrent enrollment, your own qualifications, and whether you might need to enroll in specific additional courses or degree programs. And I asked several of the chairs before we were going to speak today. We had our professional development day last week, and whether they prospective grant or high school person might decide to enroll in an undergraduate course And the question was, we have many graduate courses or graduate certificates and degrees. So it might be that rather than just simply taking the equivalent undergraduate course in physics or math, you might take the graduate course, and the product of that graduate course is sitting in auditing an undergraduate course, and the outcome would be updating or creating a syllabus that aligns with our undergraduate course. So that is department by department, but I would encourage you to think through before just selecting a plan, and talk with our faculty to figure out how to align your syllabi, your assignments, and your assessments. So I've been mentioning Dr. Olcay Yavez. He's pictured here. He is our faculty coordinator for early college. You can reach him via email. He's going to work with our grant officer, Julianne Fowler, who I've shared your grant application instructions with. She's particularly savvy at helping put together the budgets. So if you are interested in working with us to create some partnerships, Julianne will help with the budget section. And then these are our other contacts from our admissions office. That might be some people that you meet to help the students register and enroll. Dr. Sir Snowden on the right and Nilvio Perez on the left, who might help you in the future. So I'll be happy to take any questions that you have and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Trudy. Really appreciate this presentation. I know there's some questions coming in the chat. Renee, I don't know if you wanted to deal with them now, or do you want to deal with them after Molly has also presented?
Oh, sorry about that. Let's give Molly a chance to educate us on St. Joseph's, and then we'll go from there.
Because I think these questions are broader than
Right.
specific. So
Right.
All right, cool.
Hey everyone, just to confirm, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So my name is Molly Miner. I'm the Director of Admissions and Enrollment here at the University of St. Joseph. I will take you through our concurrent enrollment programs that we offer here at USJ. We are a little newer to concurrent enrollment, so happy to answer any questions about partnerships and next steps. So at USJ, we're happy to partner with any Connecticut high school that is interested in entering in a partnership. Everything does need to be done through a partnership, so we'll enter into a formal agreement to offer all of these courses and to streamline the process. We charge a per credit fee for the courses. Right now we're charging $50 a credit, and all of our classes are either 3 or 4 credits. So we do offer lab courses as part of the partnership, and those would be the 4 credit courses. Students do need to earn a C or higher in order to be eligible to receive college credit. And then at the end of the course, students will receive both their USJ transcript as well as their certificate of completion. Courses, as was mentioned by both Eastern and Southern, courses do need to be taught by a high school teacher that has at least a master's degree in the designated discipline and meets the requirements to be an adjunct faculty member here at USJ. And then the courses need to be approved by our university faculty, and the content has to be about 80% consistent with the equivalent course at USJ. So to show you what I mean, this is one of our existing partnerships with Northwest Catholic High School, which is the Catholic high school here in West Hartford, Connecticut. We bring 3 courses to their students, and they align with the following courses here at USJ. So the Art of Effective Writing, that is our freshman English course, English 104. Introduction to Cellular Biology, that is a 100 level biology course. It is a course that is taken by most of our health profession students. So nursing, direct entry PA, our biology majors, chemistry. So it is a really common course that students do need to take. And then elementary statistics, so Math 110. This is a course that's required of a lot of our business majors, accounting, management. So the courses that were selected were really thoughtfully planned based on what is going to help students, whether they enroll at USJ or elsewhere in the future. So these courses will directly count not only toward their core requirements in some cases, but in other cases right to their major. So really helping them start working toward that graduation timeline while still in high school. So students apply through a designated concurrent enrollment application that's housed and run through the Office of Admissions. It is a form that will capture everything that we need from the student, including their parent information, emergency contact information, and then the form's conditionally formatted. So students will select the high school that they currently attend, and then it'll populate all the course offerings with that school. So for some schools, we may offer only 1 course, but for others, we may be offering 3, 4, or 5 courses, depending on the teachers at that school and the offerings that that high school is interested in offering to their students. As I mentioned before, the credits it's $50 a credit, and payment is non-refundable and due at the start of courses. And so we will send all of that information out from the Office of Admissions. So right now we're actually in the process of collecting the payments from the students who are starting in the fall cohort at Northwest Catholic and this was a request from the teachers and the administration at Northwest to try to wrap everything up as neatly as possible before the end of their academic year this year, so that the students who are registered for these courses will be good to go at the start of the fall semester. Participating students will be invited to participate in USJ campus events and opportunities on campus, including fall open house. We are offering academic visit days that are connected to the specific course. So for example, there will be opportunities for students at Northwest Catholic to come to USJ and complete some of their lab work here on campus with the rest of their classmates, their biology teacher, and then working in conjunction with our biology faculty member. We also offer group visits from high school. So for the students collectively coming together to come to campus for an admissions presentation, a campus tour. We also offer college application and essay writing workshops. So this is something that we are going to be offering directly to the schools with which we have concurrent enrollment partnerships to really thread that needle through and have the students as they're taking these courses and planning their college application process, giving them the full red carpet experience when it comes to applying for college, essay writing, and everything they need to do in order to get their college applications in order. So if you are interested in exploring a concurrent enrollment process or partnership, we do that here in the admissions office. So I would be your main point of contact. We would be the starting point, and then we would work directly with our partners in academic affairs, in the provost office, in the registrar's office to get the MOU signed and work through the next steps in the process for what students need to do and what the faculty and staff at the high schools need to do in order to enter into a partnership. Happy to take any questions.
Great, thanks, Molly. Really appreciate the presentation. Very much, again, all three of our higher ed partners really appreciate your jumping on to share your program and your background. And I'm going to pick up on some questions that came in the chat and pose it to all of you. And so the first question is, do the universities see partnerships with school districts outside of the region? And whether this makes sense. And does it make sense for a school in Windsor to partner with Southern or Eastern, where you're not necessarily in their backyard, but does it make sense? And I guess, Molly, you can respond too, because you might have people on the call here from Meriden or Fairfield or whatever. So
I know at USJ specifically, we're happy to partner with schools in any region. I think, as Chris alluded to in his presentation, there's some logical sense about partnering with the schools in your immediate region, just from the ability of students being able to more easily come to campus, or our faculty being more easily able to travel directly to the high schools. But we are happy to partner with schools throughout the state. Our faculty live throughout the state, and we have had students visit in group visits from as far away as an hour and a half. So happy to partner with high schools anywhere.
Similarly, we have partners across the state as well. And even though we encourage students to come to campus when they're able, they may take an online course if they live at a distance. So that opportunity to work directly with Southern instructors might be the spark that gets them to enjoy a major that they wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So we're happy to work with partners across the state, either for the concurrent enrollment courses at their high school or the dual enrollment courses here at Southern.
And the same goes for Eastern. I would basically just echo those responses and say that I think a lot of familiarity with online tools have made it a little easier to collaborate through a bit of a physical distance. So we're also open to it.
great. Thank you. The next question, and I'm not sure I fully understand this question. It says, who creates the prerequisite course list? Does a school district provide course catalog and then work is done in partnership? And Christina, I'm not sure I follow that question. I don't know, Renee, did you kind of get a sense of where that was coming from?
I was actually just going to suggest that we allow her to ask the question rather than type it. That might be helpful.
Christina, could you raise your hand there? There we go. Makes it easier for me to find you and unmute you. So I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself and you can ask your question. So go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so I am curious, so I think it was Southern who had that really cool yellow list with the blue font, and then it highlighted the high school courses, and then it had the alignment with the college courses next to that. So I know there has to be some preparation work in order for you to identify what's what and what's going to match up and how that works. So how does that work? So what does it look like? Does a high school provide you, hey, here's our course catalogs, and where does each of our courses align with your courses, and how do we figure out that dual enrollment approval, et cetera, et cetera? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll just jump right in. So that example from the pre-nursing accelerated pathway was done through some groundwork from our nursing department, reaching out to particular schools to map the alignment. And when we're in the conversation with prospective partners, I often ask about their curricular plans or intentions. It's frequently the case that some have ideas about the curriculum that they'd like to develop. Some have already mapped out, I have these IB, these AP, these early college, and here are my gaps. So it really runs a range between those who have definite ideas about what they need, and those who are still exploring, like maybe we'll have one sports management and maybe we'll have one, marketing course. And then see if there's interest, and then we'll kind of develop the curriculum in the high school to go from there. So we really customize our approach to working with each school and where you're at in your own curricular development to provide, what Southern can add to that. And we don't want to overstep. If you already have partners, that's fine with us as well. We just want to be able to offer something that's unique and Southern specific that might help you.
Anyone else? Molly or Chris, you want to jump in on that, or are you good? Okay.
I guess I would just say, the way we've been, I think to answer the question as far as what we provide for an initial kind of review of what courses might be good candidates is, we've sent a list of our courses, titles, descriptions, and prerequisites. And then from there, the high school liaison might consider what they already offer, what they're interested in offering through us, and see if what they're teaching now currently aligns. That's the way it's worked more so this year, but I think that's also open to there are different ways it can be done, but that's been a common experience of mine, is sharing just an online list of what's on the Eastern catalog and kind of what's covered in the course, and if it's an appropriate level.
No, that's helpful. And I'm going to sort of use Taryn's question that just came in, which basically says, we're hoping to partner with an IHE to provide a concurrent enrollment opportunity for our journalism course, if possible. And would the first step be to reach out to the English department head or to one of you, who are the points of contact?
I'll just jump in. So we have a journalism department head. Our department is called journalism. Cindy Simino is the chair. If you already know her, she often runs an annual event on campus for high school teachers of journalism. So you may know her directly, and you are welcome to reach out directly to her. The other contacts I put on the list, Dr. Olcha Yavez can help make that introduction, or certainly you're welcome to reach out to me. So all of the above.
At USJ, we would say come directly to myself in the Office of Admissions, and we'll connect you with the correct faculty and staff members to get the discussion going.
Yeah, same here, just based on which department the appropriate faculty might be housed in. We would just help make sure you're reaching out, and we're putting you in contact with the appropriate academic department that houses journalism in this case.
And let me suggest this then. I think this is our first rodeo with this IHE information session. I think given that we're expanding this work, even if you do know the faculty directly and you're looking to expand it, I would say keep the points of contact in the loop. Again, USJ and Eastern are saying start with the points of contact, and Trudy said, you could start with her for sure or go directly. I would just say make sure the points of contact you're hearing from today and you'll hear from in the future calls are kept in the loop, because we're making a huge step here, a huge amount of investments in expanding this, that we want to make sure that the coordinators who are here actually know some of the conversations that are happening, because I think that will be important for all of us. So good questions, excellent questions. Keep them coming. And going to go to another question, which has to do with transcript provision. And I think this came from Robert. And he was saying, once students complete their dual credit course, how do they go about getting their transcripts sent to other colleges? Is it like a standard transcript request process? How does that work?
Well, that's a pretty easy one. Maybe I could take that one first. They request through Parchment, which is our online transcript ordering system. And they could either log in through their Eastern credentials, which they should have the ability to do, or use a personal email address and confirmation. So it's an online request, and then they just have the option of sending the transcript electronically to wherever they want to send it. A registrar's office or admissions office at another school would be fine. It could all be done online.
So similar to Eastern, students will be able to request their transcript through our website, and it'll be sent from Parchment to wherever they want to send it. However, we will also be providing students with a copy of their transcript at the end of each course so that they have a copy at no additional charge. And so they'll get a paper copy at the end of each class.
And we also use Parchment, and the students can request an unofficial copy through their online SCSU, or a formal copy to be sent to their prospective college of choice when they matriculate.
I think, Chris, there was a particular question about Eastern courses. Can we get a copy of the list of approved courses for ECSU? And they said they couldn't find it through the link sent earlier. Not sure what that is.
So yeah, I guess approved courses, I'm not sure if that would mean courses that are already approved to run concurrently at high schools, or just in general courses that exist in our catalog. The list I included in my presentation was a list of approved concurrent enrollment courses, but then each of our academic department websites has a list of approved courses that exist already in the catalog that have gone through our curriculum committee on campus and been signed off on by the president and everything. So I could provide either, and then I would have to get in touch with the registrar to get an entire list of everything, but they do have a link online. I think that can go to every class that's approved on the books at Eastern. So depending on what you're looking for, Pamela, I could provide either the list of concurrent enrollment approvals or general Eastern course catalog approvals.
And Pamela, if you raise your hand, I can unmute you and you can clarify it as well. Okay. Next question from Stephanie is, our school district is currently a partner with SCSU, but trying to offer a new course for our students. Can we still use this grant to develop this new course and to possibly review our current course offerings to make other additions or adjustments? So for the first part of the question, to develop a new course, absolutely, that's what the grant is for. Startup of new of offerings that weren't offered previously. Our goal is to increase student participation in dual credit courses. I know we didn't mention this part. We have a post-secondary readiness indicator in our accountability system, and we have a report on EdSite that gives you that information. And statewide, roughly 27% of our seniors, 12th graders, have taken at least have 3 dual credits under their belt with a C or better, right? We want to grow that significantly. So creating new courses, getting more students in, great. We love that idea. Reviewing existing courses and making adjustments, no, that wouldn't fit within this particular grant, because that's not really expanding the course offerings, that's making adjustments. But definitely new course development, absolutely part of this grant. Let's see. Welcome, Stephanie. Trudy, go ahead.
I was wondering if the grant is available for any instructor who may have been turned down by us in the past for not having credentials. So the high school might be a partner, but they applied, and for whatever reason, the credentials were deemed to not be appropriate. Might those same high school's teachers be able to use this grant to then get appropriately certified?
Yeah, absolutely, because that will result in that faculty being able to offer a section that they otherwise couldn't, which will expand enrollment. It'll be a new section that didn't exist before, and give more students the opportunity to participate. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what we're talking about. Yep. It doesn't have to be a new course that necessarily hasn't been articulated yet. It could be an existing articulated course, but you want to add more sections to it because that also expands access for students. Our goal is a new thing that didn't exist before. Renee, am I saying that correctly? Just fact checking myself here.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
all aligned with what we've been saying.
Okay, good, good.
Consistency is important.
Yep, it is.
And I guess I would invite if there's anyone on the line who wants to ask a question orally and not put it in the chat or make a comment or whatever it might be. And it can be for our higher ed partners or a question about the grant specifically. Either one, we're open to that. So feel free to raise your hand and we'll unmute you. I think we're out of questions.
I think that's adequate wait time. So I think we'll sort of bring this particular session to a close. Oh, okay, the question did come up. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
And it's a general grant related question. Do students who earn a passing score on AP tests meet the 3-credit benchmark? We're not looking to add AP courses to this grant since they're not tied to IHEs. Just wondering. Oh, good question, Kayla. The AP tests have always been part of Indicator 6. Passing an AP test, we don't equate it to a number of credits. We just say if you pass an AP test, then you have met the post-secondary readiness benchmark for Indicator 6. So it has always counted. What is new is the inclusion of dual credit and completion of 3 or more credits with a C or better non-remedial college credits. So that's what's the new component that started last year and will continue for the foreseeable future. So AP is always counted. So that's the good thing. All right, I think I'm gonna pass it to Renee to bring us to a close here.
I did want to mention one thing just to kind of piggyback off what you said, Ajit, about the dual credit and AP counting and all that. Remember, Indicator 6 is the percentage of 11th and 12th graders who are meeting benchmark on ACT, SAT, IB, all of these different things, or getting 3 college credits prior to graduation. But it's any one of those things for Indicator 6. This dual credit conversation is a piece of Indicator 6. And you may have students who are earning 3 or more credits and are also meeting these other benchmarks, and that's fine. But you are able, through that post-secondary readiness report, which I provided a link to, you can see for your district and for your school, the percentage of 11th and 12th graders who are meeting the standard on each of those components of Indicator 6, as well as the indicator overall.
Yeah, there is a
little off task here.
Well, I think it's important to know that though, because if we're trying to track what we're trying to grow here, right? I mean, you need to know exactly where your district or school stands. And in that report, the link to which Renee pasted in the chat, there is an option in that report on the top that says select the measure. The default is Indicator 6, and basically, which is the either or piece that Renee mentioned. But if you click that select measure dropdown, you will see a dual enrollment option at the very end. Now, it doesn't say dual credit. We're still sort of working on our language. We do mean dual credit. So if you click on that, you'll actually see just the dual credit piece of that indicator. So again, those students may have passed SAT or met the benchmark for SAT or AP or ACT or whatever. But when you select the dual enrollment earning credits 3 or more, you're actually just looking at that subset, that portion of Indicator 6, a la the students who met that benchmark by earning 3 or more credits. That's what we're driving in this particular grant application. That's what we want to see improve and gap closure and all that. Right now, like I mentioned at the opening, 27% of our seniors are doing it, 22% overall. We want to see that increase significantly. The grant expects for each high school or district coming in, each district, a 10 percentage point increase in that measure. So if your district's at 40%, we want that going to 50%. So it's like a straight up 10 percentage point increase that we want to see. So so that's there as well.
Okay,
Well,
so
I
I can
hope that made sense. Yeah, you can wrap it up, Renee.
I can advertise our upcoming sessions. We have 3 more. Thank you, Chris and Trudy and Allison. Thank you so much for, I'm sorry, Molly. I called you Allison. My apologies. Thank you so much for kind of leading us off on this series of 4 sessions. I think you did a great job. It was really informative for me. I know I actually learned a lot, and I know the people on the line did too, and all the people in the future who are going to be watching the recording. So we really appreciate you taking the time to share your information with us. The upcoming sessions are happening in rapid fire right after the holiday weekend. We've got Central and Goodwin and UConn on May 30th. And then on May 31st, we actually have 2. So we have CT State, which is our community college system, University of Bridgeport, University of New Haven, and then the final one will be Albertus Magnus, Quinnipiac, and Sacred Heart. So I expect to get even more information in the coming days. This will be terrific. So thank you so much for coming today. Any last parting words, Ajit?
No, I just want to answer one other question that came in, which is, why are we focusing only on 11th and 12th graders in this measure? It's because it really would be unfair to hold anybody below 11th grade accountable for the measure, because students typically don't engage in this work until their junior year. But the way that measure works is, even if they did take a dual credit course, or sometimes students take an AP course in 10th grade, that's okay. When we look at 11th and 12th grade, we actually go back and look at the entirety of their high school experience. So we go back to 9th and 10th grade. So if they had done those exams or coursework in 9th and 10th grade, they do contribute to the indicator cumulatively when we look at 11th and 12th graders. We don't just look at what they did in that year. We look at their cumulative high school experience. Right. Great. You're welcome. And with that, I think we'll bring this session to a close, and hopefully we'll see many of you in the next one with Central, Goodwin, and UConn. Take care, everyone.